What's up, guys? Welcome to your 127th Android tutorial for the new Boston. And what we're going to do in this tutorial, we're basically going to set up something to do within this method called OnSensorChanged. But before we do that, let's set up some variables that we're going to use, and they're going to be float types. So we're going to say float x, float y, and float sensor x and sensor y. And then we're also going to set up a bitmap, because again we're going to draw that ball to the screen, so we're going to say bitmap ball. And then within our onCreate method here, we're going to set up our ball reference real quickly. Again, just bitmap factory dot decode resources or resource, and then get resources, and also whichever ID that we want. So we're going to say r.drawable dot green ball, and we have our bitmap set up. We also might want to set up all of our float values. So we're going to say x equals y equals sensor x equals sensor y. And basically what's going to happen now, actually those aren't set equal to anything, so we're going to set that equal to 0. And now anytime our sensor changes, it's going to call this OnSensorChanged method. So what we can do is we can set up our our float values for our sensor every time that our sensor is called. So what we can do is say sensor x, and I believe this was R0, something like that. I just changed it to E because it's a little bit easier to work with. Just sensor event is being passed in, so we get an event and we can refer to that event and get the value. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say e.values, and it returns a float. And let's just scroll over here to the description. And if we refer to the value 0, that's going to give us pretty much the x-axis, the direction of the x-axis, and the y is going to give us the direction of the y-axis, and I'm sorry, the 1 is going to give us the direction of the y-axis, and the 2 is going to give us the direction of the z-axis. So for our sensor x, what we want to do is we just want to say the values of 1, or I'm sorry, of 0, and that will return basically the information from our sensor event for the x direction or the x-axis. And then again, we're just going to say sensor y is equal to e.values, and now we're looking for the y direction, which is 1, and we don't really care about the z direction for our example. And also another thing that we can do is we can even delay this even longer, because even though we set it equal to be a normal delay sensor, we can even delay it a little bit longer by just adding a thread sleep method to like 1000, or not 1000, like 16. 16 is about 60 frames per second, and then we're just going to add a try and a catch around this sleep method here. So that will kind of save us some processing speed, so it's not checking every time our sensor even slightly moves. But it's good enough. For example, 60 times per second to update basically our x and y values of our sensor. That's pretty good. So there we go, guys. That's pretty much it for this tutorial. Just kind of learned about anytime a sensor changes, it's going to call this method. We're going to redefine this sensor x and sensor y. So I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.